If anyone with the ear to the ground would have heard about something called Gamergate going on in the video game industry at the moment. Bayonetta 2 has been getting a bit of controversy for its depiction of women as well. Rather than involving myself in such debates about women in and out of video games, I've decided I'll use this controversy to start a series of videos praising the depiction of some women in video games. Because despite everything that has been said, out of all media, video games are the one area where it's very easy to make a badass female character, as games are about empowerment to a large degree. So while we have seen some characters who are no more than cardboard cutouts, we have seen some fantastic femmes on our screens too. There's no set limit to this list. It isn't a top 10 or anything, and I haven't played every game in the world yet, so I'm open to some suggestions if there's any games you think should be on the list. For now I'm going to begin with a lesser known character, right after my first ever attempt at an intro.
She's a killer queen, got bad agility, dynamite with a laser beam, guaranteed to blow your mind. Recommended at the price, insatiable and appetite. Wanna try?
Watch out! All fighters away from the flagship.
What? The floor! If they attack Saki from the air, then we'll need this.
What the? All fighters break apart.
Airan from Sin and Punishment is the first character on my list. The plot of this game is interesting. Airan is the co-protagonist with Saki, who you probably know from his appearance in Smash Bros. You play as Saki for 6 levels and a prologue, while you play as Airan for 3 levels. However, the 3 levels are much longer and take up a significant chunk of the plot. It's not an overly long game, about an hour tops on the easier difficulties, so you don't really get a lot of time with the characters even though a lot happens in a short amount of time. What kind of sets it apart is that you get the impression that our heroes aren't necessarily good people while they're not being full-on anti-heroes. One of the major enemies in the game is a group known as the Armed Volunteers, a group of people who willingly take up arms to fight monsters but are inadvertently suppressing the local population. We don't have much time for any major characterization, but from concept alone we know there's an army of people that want to make a difference and help others out. But they've killed Airan's friends and plan to kill her human-turned-monster boyfriend, so as a result she slaughters them all. She takes on the entire fleet by herself and it is awesome. She's a person who is motivated by revenge and protecting those she cares about. Traits you'd usually seen as a villain or anti-hero, yet she still seems to be a good person, forced to do what is necessary without coming across as tragic.
They're about to kill me!
These enemies outmatch you, Leda. They're all that remain of Achi and her followers. It's quite possible that the girl has inherited Achi's blood. This time I will face them. You must stay back.
Well, Commander, now I'll avenge my friends!
The pleasure will be all mine.
Despite not actually spending a whole lot of on-screen time together, her relationship with Saki is one of the more interesting things about her, and one of the more interesting relationships I've seen in video games. Partway through the game, Saki has turned into a monster, and the only way for him to turn back into a human is for her to open her heart to him, and use the power of love, all Disney style. But she refuses to do this entirely, even after seeing 2 possible futures, one where they have a child together, and one where Saki tries to destroy the world. She loves Saki and he loves her, but they still don't know each other fully yet. True love is something that needs to be forged over time instead of something that happens at first sight and can conquer anything. Despite not fully healing Saki of his monster traits, she still decides to have a future with him and intends to have his child. Their child, Issa, is the protagonist of the second game, which only features Airan in a single flashback scene, but which adds a lot to her character despite being so short. Issa witnesses his father's monstrous form and questions whether he is a monster. Airan doesn't tell her son straight up whether he is or isn't. She tells Issa that it's up to him to make his own decisions about life and come to his own conclusions about people's natures. To do what is right, but decide what's right based on your own conclusion, not simply because someone else tells you. A philosophy I can very easily say I believe in. Parents have to guide and teach their children, but they shouldn't force a belief or system of morals on them. People need to be good for the sake of being good, not because they're told to. We all have the right to come to our own conclusions in life. Heavy stuff to be sure, but with that philosophy in mind, it becomes quite clear that Airan lives this way when we look back on her actions in the first game. Maybe I'm reading too much into a short romp that puts gameplay over plot, but even if I'm not, Airan's still one of my favourite gals of gaming. She's strong, knows what she wants, and knows how to take control. What more could you want? Oh yeah, and I need to stress once more how awesome her one-man fight against the Armed Volunteer fleet is. Please release this game in HD with Wii Remote controls.
don't go having a child. This is no future for children.
You're wrong. Issa will live in a different future. Somewhere there's a future where I am your wife, Issa is your son, and you are human.
Are you and Papa fighting?
Oh, I'm sorry. What do you think of your mommy?
Mommy's scary, but Mommy's nice. Issa loves you, Mommy.
And I love you, Issa. That's why I know we'll see each other again.